Oh man, yeah, that blows. Well, I'm gonna try to finish. I don't know if I'm gonna even be able to upload the thing to. I don't know how this even is gonna work, so we'll see. Um, that blows. Next time I'll be more careful. But let's see where I was. If it saved. If it didn't save enough, then I won't be able to do this. O controller. Let's see. I have my money. My global pressed. What was I missing to before it crashed? Yeah, I collided with parents. Global money plus equal 1. Oh yeah, I was making a font. Where's my fonts? Fonts. Why? Heck. Okay, yeah. So I was looking for impact, and GameMaker couldn't make this any easier on me. I can't type like IN. HIJK, right? ABCDFGHI. Yeah, I don't know my alphabet. Okay. Impact. And let's give it size of like 60. Let's do like 32. Be big enough. And that's good. And then let's set our font before we draw it. Okay, that's, yeah, I was looking for that. Probably should have did that. Did I delete everything in the draw event? Didn't I have other stuff in here? No, please tell me I didn't. What else did I have in here? I think I had... Oh boy. I did. Why did I delete it? What I have in there? I was drawing something. Oh boy. Whatever. I'll figure that out in a minute. Let's draw text. Draw text. 1400 by 800. And then what are we drawing? We're drawing our string global.money. And let's see what happens when we run it. Don't send. What? What? Invalid token. I need to set my font. I'm getting weird errors now. What a mess. What a mess. What is this? Compiler. The given key was not present in the dictionary. I'll reset GameMaker, maybe? I think that crash made my game die. Oh man. Man, it was really looking good too. I'm really sad. Why is this? Let's see. If I don't do the draw text, does it work? At line 1? What are you talking about at line 1? Line 1 had nothing in it. Let's delete event maybe. What does this mean? Wow, I think GameMaker just destroyed the project. Key was not present in the dictionary. From collections. Key value pair, Boolean. Something wrong with the compiler. Am I signed into my account? I think it has to do something with the actual compiler. Can I run any of my games? Let me see. Let me open up my maze generator. Run it. Yeah, that works. Yeah, I think my game... Something went wrong after that crash. Maybe we could do debug mode? Nope. I'm gonna send an error report. Why not? Okay, is there any way I could cut, paste? I don't know. Is there like a cleanup? Cleaning it. Wow, I can't even clean it. That is lame. Build. Dictionary they saved to their project. How the heck do you do that? Do I need to just save project as something? New. Proj. Tower. Ah! It worked! Oh my gosh, thank you. Alright, so I'm gonna do this really quick. Alright, so what do? Our draw event. I really don't even think I'm gonna be able to upload the thing now, guys. I don't think it's saved. The actual stream, so I'll upload the file for the game. That just really sucks that the stream's not gonna upload. Alright, let's draw set fonts. Font 1. Draw text 800. Let's do 1400 by 1400 by 800. String global dot money. Thank you for that. So that fixed it. So let's see. Drawing our text down here. This thing isn't working because that got deleted as well, you remember? So I can't even place the tower now. Damn. So the X floor size. I said global left pressed. If can place. If global money, should be greater than or equal to. So it's not giving me the visualization on the actual tower, but I should still be able to place it. So we should still, I don't have any money, so I shouldn't be able to place another one. So yeah. I should get money when they actually destroy one, which I don't know if they're going to be able to because they're switching. That's one issue with this system. It should just acquire a target probably. I would have to work with that. It should just shoot at the acquired target until the acquired target goes out of range. That would be best. But I'm not going to program that right now. So what we're going to do, just to show you guys how it works, is we're just going to make the bullets do more damage. So we're going to do my health minus equal 50. And we should be able to destroy objects and get money as we destroy objects. Okay. So yeah, if you're just joining in, I had this kind of done and then it crashed because lightning crashed it and it kind of messed the game up a little bit. So you see our money's increasing. It should actually be bigger than this. But you can see our money's increasing and we can place other towers now. We click our object and we're getting a ton of money. So just how it is right now. And yeah, I'll upload this code. Can't guarantee that I'm going to be able to upload the actual stream now, which really sucks. And I promise I'll do another one really soon. So yeah, I'll go ahead and take some questions if y'all have questions. There's 13 of you. So if you have questions about this or questions about, my channel or maybe some suggestions on what I should do or had questions about how I made this, since now I may not be able to upload the stream, you can go ahead and ask me, and that's fine. So it seems, oh, really? I think I might be able to combine them using the YouTube's generator thing, and I hope that works. I'll try to get that working so it's kind of more seamless. But if you have any questions about it, yeah, give it a go and ask me. And thank you, Imperfect, for letting me know about that. Fixed it pretty quickly, actually. So I'll kind of give you a rundown of how this works again. So if we go into the room, I just placed in order the nodes that I want the object to follow. It's really simple. I could make multiple maps like this really easily. No reason to implement pathfinding. And how these are, how it's made is just using a queue. And if you haven't watched my recent video on the maze generator, maybe it's the second video, watch them both. I go through the stack and the queue data structure on kind of how they work. So basically what I'm doing is, go to the create. So I create a queue using dsqcreate, and then I run through, I get the number of nodes in the room, and I set a for loop, so we're going to iterate until I equals the number of nodes in the room. And then I dequeue them one by one. So what happens is this node gets added to the queue, this node gets added to the queue, this node gets added to the queue, this node, and so on and so forth. And I do this by using I get to the create event, the instance find function in GameMaker. Basically GameMaker stores all types of a specific instance in a array, and I'm basically accessing that position in the array with I, and I'm getting that specific instance ID and putting that in the queue. So this is getting added all the way one by one until the last one's added, which is down here, right? And then it just dequeues the first item, which is actually this. When you use a queue, when you use dequeue in a queue, it actually grabs the first item that was ever input. I grab the position, move towards that position. When I'm close enough to that position, I dequeue the next position, and I just do that over and over until it's at the end. That's it. Okay, so I'm reading some comments. Seems your previous stream, do you ever think of making more top-down or strategy tutorials? So there's a lot of interest in strategy and top-down tutorials. So if we go to my maze generator, maybe it's this. So if we go to my maze generator, this is what I'm showing you how to make in this maze generator tutorial on my channel. I'm not finished with it yet, but I can insert how many objects I want, right? So I want 400 objects in my maze, and it generates this maze randomly, right? So basically what I'm showing you, sorry, I thought I heard an alarm. I think it's a train though. It is guaranteed that every position in this maze is accessible, so I can get anywhere in this maze. So if I do another one, I could give it 500. It's going to take a second to generate, and you see it's a more densely populated maze, but it is a maze. Or I can give it 150 and have a really sparse maze, but it's still a play area. And what I'm going to show after I show you how to make this is how to implement this cover system into this. And the cover system, if I could find it, top down, new project tower, part 1 redo, Monkey Gen. It's not going to be here. It's going to be under my Gloomy Toad Games, third graphics, Spelunky tutorial, platformer. Where did I put it? Maybe it's not here. Test projects? Nope. Professional, photos, game design, projects, AI find cover. I think this is it. So I'm going to implement this cover system inside of that maze generate system that I just showed you. So this cover system actually has these enemies like run away. You've probably seen it if you've looked at my channel. They actually run away and hide. So this is all real time. I didn't have to place any objects inside of the room for this to happen. This will be able to generate like when the level's built, this will be able to generate. And you could see these enemies just run away from the wherever this block is. So he's like running around and they're all running away. They can stack on top of each other in this example, but it's not a big deal. You'll see they run away. It's all cool. So I can implement this in, and this uses A-star pathfinding that I'm also going to show you how to implement. So yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. All right, so I guess I'll shut up about that. So do you planning on projects, or is this small stuff that do you do any planning for projects, or is this stuff I didn't plan, like the shooter that I just made. It was totally, I was just going with the flow. I've never made a tower defense. I might make a more in-depth one. I don't think there's any tower defense tutorials out there, so I may make a series on this eventually, which would be kind of cool because a lot of people are interested in building a tower defense game. So, and I just did it in 2 hours. I got the basics of one down, so it shouldn't be too bad. At what size of project do you feel is necessary to start thinking about performance while you're creating something? Okay, so this is a pretty good question. Thinking about performance. Really, even a small-sized game can lag. You can make it lag. The big thing is not implementing things every step that you don't need to. So stuff like this, like if statements and stuff, is not usually gonna affect your performance. But when you start getting into for loops inside of step events, that's when you start getting into performance issues. So when you're doing like for loops or while loops, anything that's gonna run a loop inside of a step event can really start affecting your performance. And there's not a whole lot of times where you want to run a for loop every step. I can't really think of any instances where you would need to, unless it's a really small for loop, something like for I equals 0, I is less than 4. You know, that's a small for loop. It's only going to take a split second to do that. But if you get into something where it's checking like an entire grid of objects every step, then you're going to start running into issues. So using like if statements inside of step events isn't a big deal, but always try to minimize things that don't need to be done. So like, for example, you can see I'm multiplying things by grid size. There's no reason to ever do this inside of a step event. Okay, set grid size to 32. This grid size is never going to change. Just put it in the create event of the object. There's no reason to reset this every step of the game, every frame. There's just no reason. So anything that is never going to change, do in your create event. Now, if it's grid size, but it's based on something, like it's based on your speed, then you need it in your step event, obviously. But anything you don't need, you should really do in create event. Or even another way is if something doesn't need to be updated every step, but you want to update it every now and then, use an alarm. Like if you need to run a for loop every like 10 milliseconds, use an alarm. Just set an alarm 0 to 10 milliseconds, run your for loop, and reset your alarm there. So it's not running every step. Okay. Do you have any experience with other game engines? If so, would you ever plan on putting out content with them? Yeah, I have experience with Unity, and I'm starting to use Godot, which is really cool. I think it's an up and coming one. It's open source, so it's actually being developed by the community, and I was interested in that, so I've kind of dove into the code, and hopefully I'll start making some contributions to that engine. Unity is very good, and if you're making 2D games, just stick with GameMaker. GameMaker is great for two-dimensional games, and it doesn't get easier than GameMaker. It really doesn't. Unity is a bit more difficult, but if you're going to school for computer science, or you have experience with other programming languages like Java or C#, if you know Java, it's really easy to go into C#. C# isn't that difficult to learn. Or C++ or something like that. It's really actually annoying to program in GML. For like programmers that program in other languages, because there's so much that you can't do in GML. And having those available in like Unity and stuff is awesome. And I could pull up Unity probably. I haven't updated it in a while. But Unity also has, what I love about it is it has a full GUI editor, which GameMaker's missing, and I hate it. I absolutely hate that we don't have a GUI editor. So, for example, we should have like a GUI layer in here. Is there a GUI layer? I'd be embarrassed if there was. But, and you could create a button and set a sprite to be that button. And then when you click it, you could set actions. I'm not going to do this right now. But Unity has a full GUI editor. You can create buttons and go into the actions when that button's clicked and stuff like that, which is really cool. If you do want to get in Unity, I would recommend, I'll show you. I would recommend going to Udemy, and you make an account on Udemy. Don't hack me, please. Jeez. I don't have any account info on here, so don't try. But they always have these discounts, so constantly have these discounts. Like I can get these courses for $10, you know. I'm actually going to start working on some Udemy courses myself. But let's see. Let's go to my courses. Where's my courses? Come on. Wow. Top courses in Unity. Do they have any new ones? They might have new ones. But there's a course by Ben Tristram. He's a really good, really good, excellent teacher. Why can't I access my courses? Yeah. So I have a ton of courses on here. I've bought a lot of them. Udemy is awesome. But like I have 3D modeling courses, build your own first-person shooter in Unity. This one is the one I would recommend starting out with. This is Learn to Code by Making Games, Complete C# Unity Developer Course. So this teaches you C# along with developing in Unity. And it's really cool. You can go here and view like a couple of the small videos, but you could see all the content that even just this has. You have introduction setup, then you make a basic scripting number wizard, which is kind of cool. It's teaching you actually the what do you call it? I forgot. A binary search, which is a searching algorithm for it's making a small game using binary search in Unity. And then you go on to like a text adventure, which is like the old school text adventure game where you like click, it's all text based, but it's going through. It teaches you some good concepts for like using enumerations and stuff like that. It goes through really good coding concepts. Then you go through like a bowling game, like your first 3D bowling game. You have Laser Defender that you make. And then, yeah, you go through making all these games and Twin Sticks 2.5D, and then you make a small RTS game at the end of it. I kind of stopped after that because I got the point of Unity at that point. But yeah, I would recommend that game. It's 25,000 reviews or something. Maybe not that many. I could be exaggerating. Overview. I don't know. Has tons of reviews, 5 stars. That's a great course. I got it for $10. If you make an account, you could probably get it for $10 too. So I'd recommend that. I'll get off of that though. Do you have any experience? But yeah, I would recommend Unity if you want to get into like 3D stuff or actual like real programming, because you get a program in C#, which is a real language, and it's a very good programming language. And I would recommend those courses on Udemy, the ones labeled as beginner courses. They're really fun. I had a good time. I like didn't stop programming and making games in it for like 2 weeks or something. I just went straight through like the course, and I had a blast. And you got to be careful when you do those though, because they go pretty quick and you don't really soak in the information. Then when you go to implement your own games, then you're like lost from the beginning. Like, what do I even do? So you kind of want to do your own stuff at the same time. Okay. Yeah, and I'm going to be showing the cover system pretty soon. How about zooming functionality? Oh, wait, let me make sure I got all these. Other end. And I do plan on doing some Unity tutorials. There's also some really cool stuff. Like I'm basing a tutorial I'm doing on a 3D tutorial that was done in Unity. I'm actually just remaking that as a 2D version tutorial because it was a really popular series in Unity. It teaches you a lot of cool stuff. And the cover system I'll be showing you how to do pretty soon. It's really not that hard. It's pretty easy. Once again, using a data structure. I think I used a queue as well. A priority queue, actually. I'll show you how to use a priority queue. Unity. Yeah, Unity is what it is. My job, I am working as a software developer developing. I'm not a game designer professionally yet. I want to do it eventually, but computer science is a big field. I feel like my game design skills are pretty good. Like my design fundamentals, like I know what makes a game fun. I just need to get. I really want to get real computer science experience as a backbone because. Oh, I'm getting off track. I work at a. What I don't know how to explain. Basically, we develop software for healthcare companies, and the software basically we're automating the billing process, so it's a lot of artificial intelligence in the automation process, such as like if an image is scanned, we do image recognition for so they scan like a bill. A bill gets printed out, they scan it, our software automatically reads the entire document, the text, all that, and then goes into the database and bills the customer in accordance with that information, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of security stuff involved with it too, but we do like image recognition. We do like some artificial intelligence stuff for like ease of use, like guessing where like a user that's using the software is trying to get to by like clicking through their windows. So it kind of learns based on windows that they commonly use, and it kind of will take them to where we think they're trying to go and stuff like that. So there's a lot of cool stuff, but basically it's automating the billing process for healthcare companies and kind of putting old ladies out of work. That's what we do. The specific companies that we work with, I'm not sure. I don't do the business side of it, but I know that the company that I work for is growing quite a bit in the last year, and it's been expanding. And it's a local company. Like it's a local branch. It's not across the United States or anything. It's a company that's only here. There's only a couple hundred members in the company. About I think there's about 50 programmers, so there's quite a few programmers. And it's actually a funny story. I think I'm the only full-time developer there that doesn't have their degree yet. I don't have my computer science degree yet. I'm pretty close to finishing it, but they actually hired me without it. It's kind of crazy how I got the job. I wasn't even looking for a job. Someone found me on LinkedIn from a hiring agency, and they called me in for an interview, and they said, hey, would you be interested in applying for this job? And I said, yeah. And the original job I applied for, or I didn't apply for it, they sent me in for an interview that I interviewed for, didn't require a degree really, but it was like a lower end job. It was called DevOps, and mainly you would just there's bug fixes and that kind of thing. And I wasn't super interested in it, but the pay was decent, and I'm really hurting to get like professional experience. So I went and interviewed for that job, and there were full-time developer team leaders there. And I guess I didn't get that job originally as like a bug fixer, but one of the team leaders was impressed by me and brought me in for another interview, and I got a full-time developer job. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, so I didn't even apply for a job. I wasn't even looking. I was planning on just continuing school till I finished, and yeah, they just kind of just happened. So crazy. I worked on I didn't release it. I passed it off to another programmer, and I actually thought about getting in contact with the original developer again. I'll show you it. I got to open up GameMaker. Where did I put it? GameMaker. CDEFG. Where's my original GameMaker? Open up my icons. I keep my icons hidden because my desktop is awful. Where's my GameMaker Studio? Oh, there it is. So, view, show icon. So I think I showed this in a video, but no, I haven't released any full games yet. And mostly been due to lack of time, really. I've just recently I got out of the military. I've always done it as a hobby for like 12 years. Got out of the military, and I just recently kind of got some more time because I moved back here. So yeah, I do plan. I have great ideas for games. Great ideas. What always affects me is the graphics. When I start getting into doing graphics and programming, I kind of get to a point where I don't want to do it anymore. I don't enjoy doing graphics a whole lot, and it's just a lot. I have a ton of good ideas for games. This was one for mobile. I don't know if I should be showing you, to be honest, because like I said, it was for a toy designer. He was releasing this with a line of toys that he had, and so he actually developed all the graphics, so don't steal them or anything, screenshotting the image or something. But so yeah, I do really well in interviews. I think I'm a pretty intelligent person, and I'm really personable. So, oh, this is okay. So this is my section editor. If you followed my Spelunky tutorial, you'll see that how to make like templates for sections. Well, this was the same concept. So I have this, and I build like templates out of this, right? And I can add water, and then I encode it to a string, and I load it random levels in, and yeah, whatever. And I can add these things in or whatever. And I think I can hit space or something for play. I can, yeah, see, I can play it now, and I didn't create it quite correct. So this is just like my template editor, and this would be on mobile, okay? So let me go ahead and go into like the main room. Platform. Oh, actually, I made a procedural platformer generator because it was going to be a mini game, having a platform game inside of this game. I don't know if it works still or not. Guess we'll find out. But yeah, you can see it procedurally creates a platformer, and this platformer was going to be all on touchscreen as well. And you can see I have my hands up. It moves by itself, right? That's the entire basis of this control scheme. And you would tap the screen to jump, right? So again, this level's procedurally generated, this platformer level. I was just testing it out at the point. But you tap, and the longer you hold your finger on the screen, the higher he jumps. But you don't have anything to do with the direction. You just, basically I'm just hitting up. This simulates a tap, so you just tap to change direction, right? And you could swipe to change the direction. You swipe right, swipe left, swipe right. And the control scheme was going to be pretty easy to use. And like I said, this is all randomly generated, this map. And yeah, you get to the end and whatever. But that's the same concept for the room test. That Super Mario Run? Is it? I don't know. I was working on this last year. I haven't played that. When did that even come out? But anyways, this is the same concept. So I'm not touching it. It moves by itself, and when it hits a wall, it kind of tries to help you out and decide what direction you're trying to go. So you can see it kind of avoids, it makes it easier. It kind of avoids like running into a wall, right? So I'm not pressing this. It's doing it by itself as I let it go. It kind of helps you. But you swipe the direction you're still moving, and you'll actually, it charges, right? It charges for a split second. And that's how you kill enemies and break these different bushes and stuff. So the control scheme is swiping. You're just swiping left, right, up, or down to charge or to change directions. So it makes it easier. So you have this Zelda type game that you can play on mobile. This was going to be the radar down here. This is kind of where my stopping point was. And this entire map is randomly generated using the different templates that I create. And you can see I run into the guys, and some of them have more health than others. And these tiles are randomly placed. You get a lot of randomness out of this. If you tap the screen, you jump. It's simulator by spacebar, and it automatically jumps off the cliffs, but you can't automatically jump up the cliff. And then if you go into the river, it automatically once again jumps. I had to implement a collision system. Like, let's say you jump kind of on this, it kind of drags you down into the water. So it's like you slide down almost. And then these guys can pick you up. If they swoop down and get you, they can pick you up. Oh, come on, pick me up. I probably should have tweaked this a bit more. It's kind of hard to get picked up by him. But the designer or the guy I was making the game for didn't really like that you could be picked up so easy, so I had to change it. But yeah, he kind of drags you around, and he drops you, and you lose some health. You can see at the top. And but you have a stamina bar. Like if you just sit here and oh yeah, and you can it warps you to the other side of the map. So the concept was this randomly generated map with a final boss, and you run around collecting certain gems that you have to get to unlock that door for the final boss. So you have to beat all this stuff before you can actually get to the final boss, right? And yeah, that was the basis of it. And there were going to be randomly generated levels, and these characters are modeled after his toys. He had a toy line that came out, and yeah, but my summer ended. Originally, it was supposed to be the small game, not randomly generated. It was just this game that it kind of took this into account, and you swiped to kind of kill enemies. But he kept wanting to add more and more stuff, and I kept telling him, I was like, hey, I got to start school after the summer. So he's like, all right, I'll just pass it off to another programmer. So I gave him the source and released it and all that. So, but I don't think he ever finished it because I never saw it hit the App Store. So, but I thought about contacting him and seeing if we could finish it. So. But yeah, and you can see like inside of the dungeons, you get these the guy, and I was gonna add like a small lighting system and some other stuff. But yeah, it is a pretty cool concept of a game, and I think it would be fun. It felt really good on mobile as well. Had a lot of people play it, and they all liked it. I have these random numbers. They just tell you like I did it for debugging. But yeah, and I wasn't as good of a programmer back then either. I don't know. My programming's probably really bad. I love these colors. I don't know. I don't ever remember setting this, but I love these colors. But yeah, so that was that. Anyways. I keep talking. Someone asked me. Hold on, I'm going back up. Oh, in the military, I was in transportation. That's why I got out. I was a vehicle operator, was what they called it, and yeah, it sucked. It was an okay job. It wasn't bad. It wasn't hard. Made decent money. Military is not bad. Military is pretty good. But I liked computer science, and I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. And remake this in my next stream. That took a couple months. But again, it's a Spelunky system implemented. The collisions and stuff were pretty tough, really. I would probably do it differently now. So I might. I am remaking a Zelda thing would be pretty cool though. I use object-based collisions just about always, but my objects are on a grid always, basically, for every game. So it is grid-based, but it's object-based. So I use instance place. I haven't started using tile-based collisions in the new Game Maker yet, but probably soon I will. Not positive yet. I was just talking about wanting to be in Washington. I like the rain. The next game jam, the GM48, I'm gonna be streaming. So if y'all want to check it out, I'm gonna be streaming the entire thing. Maybe on Twitch. Are there any pluses to streaming on YouTube? Is there any downside? I don't know. I'll probably be streaming on Twitch, or one of them, and I'll link my Twitch. My Twitch isn't set up for game design right now. It's I was streaming Overwatch for a while, but what was I saying? I'm actually entering GM48, and at the same time, there's a game jam by Mark Brown going on. And if you don't know who Mark Brown is, you need to follow him if you're doing anything with game design, because he does game design analysis, and I'll show you. I'll link his channel in my description. I don't know if I'm allowed to show this stuff on stream, actually, but I will, maybe. I don't know. I shouldn't do that. I don't know if that's against, like, terms or something. But you should definitely check out... shoot, whatever, I'll show it. So Mark Brown is super awesome. He does, like I said, game design analysis video, like what makes good AI. He goes through tons of stuff, and he has a game jam coming up. It's gonna be the same weekend as GM48, so I'm gonna create a game that uses both of the themes, whatever the themes are, and GM48 and his game jam. So GMTK, Game Maker's Toolkit Game Jam. So yeah, it's gonna be really cool. So let's see how many people are registered actually. 1,700 people joined right now. It's gonna be a big one. There's gonna be a lot of 3D games and stuff from Unity and whatnot, but I'll be using Game Maker. I really wanted, last game jam I used Game Maker and I didn't enjoy it. I really wanted to use Unity, but now I have a channel based on Game Maker, so I'm gonna be using Game Maker. So that's just how it's gonna be. I really want to find a graphics designer though. I'll show you all a game I did. It just came out because we could see the GM48 games now again, remember? They just uploaded the older games, and my first game jam, which was last year, let's see, let's view it. I didn't review, I didn't know you were supposed to review 5 games to be placed. So I didn't actually, let's post-mortem, okay. I didn't actually get placed, but I did get placed. Where's the awards or something on this? I actually placed like 2nd in graphics, and I did all the graphics on my own. I'm not really a graphics artist. Shoot, I don't know if they have the awards and stuff on here anymore, but I got 2nd in graphics, like 9th overall or something, but I didn't actually qualify because I didn't rate enough games. But yeah, this was the game. Can I download it? Download? Can I download this? Ask for help, dashboard, download. There it is. So I'll download this and I'll play it for you guys. You can check it out. GM48. Here's the link. It was pretty buggy. I don't know if my programming was bad back then or what, but it was super buggy and I couldn't figure out why. I did some bad things. Wait, I hate when this happens. More info, run anyway. So this is my GM48 first ever game jam. And it was Alien Break. Basically, you're an alien on a ship. You're a human prisoner. And this is my little alien guy. And let me enable sounds. Because the sounds are pretty cool. I actually made the sounds and everything. So I have this like laser gun. And I have this alien guy that I made. And you have like a ledge grab right here. And you pop up. And I shoot the guy and he dies. And I'm walking along. I got these health packs. It's not going to show it. And yeah, he shoots back. And he pops up. It's kind of in a thing here. And then I had this thing where you fall down here, but I gave the player no, it's the worst game design thing ever. No hint that he could just fall to his death right here. But you can jump on this little edge right here, actually. And, oh, and I died. That's dying. And actually, I watched a video of someone playing it, and they didn't know they were dying. They actually thought they were, that they were, like moving on to the next level. And they did it like 3 times thinking, oh, maybe it's just looping the game. But anyways, yeah, it was stupid. And this is freaking cool. I came up with this myself, and I'm proud of it. It looks like it gives you some depth, right? Some perspective. And it's just a tile I placed. And I think I didn't put it in this, but actually had a piece that you could like see it come across the window. Like you could see the hallway down there. And then you have like this elevator that moves up. And then I have like these soda cans on these windowsills. You move into the next room and yeah, you have the shotgun guy. He has a super cool sound effect. You can see like he'll blow you away with like 1 hit, but he moves into the wall. And that was the issue that they stopped playing the game right here because for number 1, my bullet was destroying itself. And number 2, he like wasn't shooting through the, okay, so I'm not even going down there anymore. But the concept was, hey, don't go down there because he's going to blow you away. And I think he looks really cool. You could see his face even in his helmet. It's really cool. Probably the best graphics I've ever done. And it was for a game jam. I probably spent too much time on these, to be honest. And then you can use this ladder or this thing to kind of manipulate. Yeah, they drink a lot of soda. And yeah, I'm gonna die. And I go down. Then another shotgun guy, you have to kill him and then you win. But I died. But yeah, that was it. That was my GM48 last year. My entry. Just not super good, but I did all the graphics, sound design, everything myself. I didn't have a graphics artist or anything. So that was that. All right. Yeah, he's really good. He's really cool. I like his voice. Like, he has a good tone, keeps you interested. Cool accent or something, I don't know, but I like watching him. All right. I was inspired to create video games when I watched when I first played Doom. So way back in the day, actually, Doom, I think it was Command and Conquer. I played Command and Conquer, and I just had this. I was like, how'd they do this? And then I got Doom, and I was like, how did they make this? And I got into trying to make like maps and stuff in Doom, and I didn't know anything. I was like 10 years old. I don't know how old I was, but I was really young. And yeah, it was just interesting to me. And then I had like AOL, and I started Googling like how to make a game. And one day Game Maker popped up. It was like when it was first made by Mark Overmars back in the day. And I downloaded it, and I remember I had it for like a month before I couldn't do anything with it for like a month. And then I made something move on the screen, and it wasn't even with like input, it was like with a path. I used like a path, and I made it like move, and I was like, Mom, come look at this. So I like brought her in the room, and I thought it was awesome that I made this thing move in a path. And yeah, I kind of took off from there. Didn't have YouTube back then to like learn stuff, so it was a lot of the forums were huge. I was on the forums a lot back then. I don't really use the forums a whole lot anymore. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. I'm 26. I maybe a little older than I look. I don't know. But yeah, I kind of started university a little late. Like I said, I was in the military for 6 years, and I got a little bit of college done while I was in the military, and then I got out and went full time on military benefits, which is nice. Got to go to a nice school. Really enjoyed it. Then I got a job offer and stopped. So I do plan on going back or continuing at least part-time for now. And then when I get enough experience, I feel like I have a lot of opportunity in this job right now. It's a growing company, and I make good money right now. So, and it'll only go up. So depends if I go back to school. I really enjoyed it though. I was learning a ton. Over a 2-year time. I learned so much. I recommend if you want to get into game design, you want to get into anything programming, go to school for computer science. I wouldn't recommend going for a game design degree, and it's not bad. It's really specialized, but applying for a game design job, no one's going to pick a game design degree over a computer science degree. I mean, there is no bonus to having it. You're going to learn more as I think, in computer science degree. It's heavy on math, that kind of stuff, but that is all really good stuff to have in computer science and programming. In game design, it's good to have. So I'd recommend, no matter what you want to do, game design, programming, yeah, I would go for computer science. For strengthening math, there's math that I haven't done yet that I'm actually going to start looking at, like Khan Academy, and brushing up on. For programming in general, I would do discrete mathematics. It covers a lot of stuff like counting. It's really hard to get a grasp on. You'd have to find a really good course online to get a grasp on it. And it might seem to not make sense towards programming, but it does. It goes through a lot of stuff. I can't even explain everything it goes through. Calculus is okay, but I haven't really came across a lot of stuff for programming yet. If you're trying to do physics stuff, of course, physics would be good to do. A big one, though, that I haven't done that I think is huge, especially if you're doing stuff with artificial intelligence and more neural network and stuff like that, is linear algebra. And there's not a whole lot of prerequisites. Just make sure you're really good at algebra and stuff like that, and then you could probably follow up on linear algebra, and that's doing stuff with like matrices, like dot products, and a lot of stuff like that. And I think that's really important. So linear algebra, I would recommend. Yeah. Discrete is really good, but it covers a lot of stuff like counting, which is pretty important when like you're trying to figure out how many combinations of something there are. It also covers like graph traversals. The most important course in all of computer science, though, is data structures. And data structures teaches you how to manage data structures. Like, so in GameMaker, we have like a DS list and a DS queue. We have these different data structures, and basically data structures, the class teaches you could create those structures yourself. And as well as that, you do like graph traversals, like kind of in my last video, I was showing like the breadth first search and depth first search, and there's different graph traversals that you use, and these help like with creating like behavioral trees, like finding the best course. It's super broad. I took data structures last semester, I did, and it was the coolest course I've taken. Super hard though, really hard. My professor was hard, but I would recommend, if you want to learn data structures, where would you go? Probably to really program in data structures, to get a grasp on it, you're gonna have to start programming in Java, or I would recommend Java. It's probably one of the easier to get into, or Python. Python's a really good introductory language. It's another scripting language, but it's really powerful. They have a ton of libraries for like math and stuff, like math functions. But data structures is super important for if you want to do any kind of programming. I mean, it's going to show you how it all works. Get into C++ if you want to know how stuff works in memory better, because you can manage kind of memory stuff easier. But yeah, data structures I'd recommend. Linear algebra, if you're just focusing on math, I would do linear algebra and discrete mathematics. And to do either one of those, you're going to have to be pretty decent in algebra, at least like pre-calculus probably. Yeah, Java's good. Java, it's hard to transition from C++ to Java, or Java to C++, stuff like that. But Java is a good language to know. It's really easy to program in. There's a few things I don't like about it that I like other languages for, but there's a few things I like about it that are easy. For example, it's garbage collected, which means, so like if I were to open up Java, how would I give you an example? Give you a small example. So if I were programming, give me a second to text real quick. Okay, so I had to text my girlfriend. I haven't texted her in like 3 hours. So, okay, so let me just create a new project in C++. I haven't programmed in C++ in a little bit, but I'll show you kind of a difference between the two. Console application, sure. By the way, Visual Studio is awesome, and that's one of the reasons I really love Unity, is I get to use Visual Studio for C#, and that's pretty cool. Is this frozen? What's it doing? Come on. So a small difference between the two. Wow. Is this C#? Oh no, it's C++. Thought it was C#. Why is it giving me this weird? This is weird. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why I got this weird stuff. Usually don't get this. Let me make a new project. A new project. I think I did something wrong here. No. Next. Application settings. Is this what application? I haven't used this in a while. Empty project. Maybe that's what I forgot. Okay, so I'll add a source file, which is a C++ file. The weird thing about C++ is you have to use header files, but I'm not going to get into that. But shoot, I haven't written in this in a while. I don't even know. Do I need a main method? I think I do. Yeah, you do int, because you return an int, then you return 0 or something. Okay. So the difference is, let's say here, This expected expression, turn 0. Turn 1? Confused. You can see I'm rusty in this. Do I do public? No, I don't do public. It's all inferred. I don't remember how to program in C++, guys. But okay, so let's say I do let's make a new object. Shoot. Public class. I don't need public. I just need class. Class objects. I need a constructor, so I do like a public objects and whatever, x equals 0. I have to do int x equals 0. Let's see, do I have to denote public? I don't remember how to do this. I think in C++ you have to do that. I should know this. I thought it was inferred that it's public though. Class object. Expected a, you have that. I feel like I'm doing something wrong. So I'm gonna just not do that, but I'll do it in the main method. So in C++, when you're initializing an object, so let's say I made an object. Let's say an object, new objects. I really need to get back into this, but I haven't needed to program in C++ since data structure, so. But I really like it. And you say new object, right? So this creates a new object, and kind of like GameMaker, you're thinking you're making a new object. When you do this, this allocates enough memory for an object type. So it creates in memory this space to store all the data in your object, right? But in C++, it doesn't automatically clear up that memory. So if you ran this over and over and over and over, and you keep creating this new object, it would eat up your memory and it would never delete it. And that's what automatic garbage collection is. So in this, you actually have to use, for every time you use new, you have to use delete new object. Okay, and then they have this other thing called pointers, which are another interesting thing in itself. And this doesn't actually equal a new object. This points to a memory address where this object is. And then you can't even use delete. You have to use delete. I think you have to use this to denote it. Yeah, I believe that's how you have to use it. So it actually goes to that pointer address, gets that out of memory, and deletes and kind of erases that from memory, or allows it to be available for further programs. So you'll see like these stars in C++, and rather in Java, I was actually opening the GM struct. I don't know if y'all know what that is, but let's see, recent project. I'll just do a new project real quick. Whatever, next. This window. So in Java, you just create like your class. I'll just call it main, and you create your main method, and you have to do public static void and main, or sorry, it's public static void main. Then you do string args, and you say a string. So string string equals new string, and then you assign it hello. And you don't have to worry about erasing this string object, because Java does it automatically. It's called our automatic garbage collection. This is erased from memory when the instance is destroyed, or whenever this goes out of scope. Anyways, that's enough. Are you going to do an app tutorial? Any difference in creating a desktop version? There's a ton of differences in creating an app. So when you're making an app in GameMaker, you have to take into account the resolution. The input isn't really hard to program, like swiping and stuff. That's pretty easy. But mainly it's just the graphics, because you have to support all the resolution sizes, right? There's some tutorials online about like a standard. There's some tutorials online about the standard for kind of how you can get like a general resolution and make your game work at that resolution, and then it'll kind of scale. So the best way to scale a game though is not actually scale the game, but actually just increase how much of the game you see inside the view. So then your graphics aren't scaling, you're just increasing how much of the game you can view. But if it's a game that you don't want to change that, then you have to kind of make different graphic sizes or other adjustments, which make it quite difficult. I've done a little bit of networking in GameMaker. I want to get more into it to get more familiar again. I did it a while back. But there's like nothing about networking, so I do want to get into that and start maybe making some tutorials on networking, because there's literally nothing on networking. Same with shaders. Shaders are I'm kind of getting into it, like programming in C kind of with shaders, which there's not a whole lot of information for GameMaker with it either, but I'm trying to get into it. Yeah, I will get into scaling. We're going to do some scaling with the platformer game, actually, so we'll get into that. One thing about Java that will kind of make sense. So let's say you had a method, make a class, class public class new. I don't know what to call this. Class 1. Sure. Okay, so why is this giving me an error? Oh, because I'd have to make a new file. I'm just gonna use class 1. So then we have a constructor. We'll call it class 1 and make it public. So the thing about the downside of Java is, let's say you have a method called public. Say, let's return an array. Public, say it's an array of integers. Public, and called adjust array. Okay, and you pass in an array to this method, right? So you'd pass in an integer array and call it array. Okay, so now when you pass in this array, so we're gonna make some adjustment to the array. So let's say we have an array created, and we want to set the entire array to 0. Okay, so we'd like do for I equals blah 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 blah. Well, when we change the array, we have to do return array, right? So we pass an array in. What happens is the array gets copied. It's just like it is in GameMaker. The array gets copied to a new array. So you'd have to do like temp array equals array. This would be ints. So the array actually gets copied, and you have to adjust basically the copied version of the array and then return the copied version of the array. And then your original thing, like in here, if this called it, you'd have to do like ints array new array equals adjust array, and then you have to pass in like the array you want to adjust, right? And again, it returns an array and sets it to here. In C++, you don't have to make this copy. What if this array was 1,000? It had 1,000 elements in it. It'd have to make a copy of that 1,000 elements, and then that's how you'd adjust it. So you'd actually have 2,000 elements in memory at this time, where you only want to have 1,000. Well, in C++, you can just use this thing, and this you can actually edit the original array without making a copy, basically. So that's really cool in C++. C++ is more flexible and more efficient memory-wise. What's networking? Networking is like you're doing, you're creating, sorry, mine got blown for a second. Networking is connecting clients and servers. So being able to make a multiplayer game with clients and servers. So online multiplayer. Okay, guys, so y'all don't have any more questions, I'm probably going to cut it down. I've kind of went on and on. If y'all would like, I would do live streams like this and teach you guys like stuff like data structures and stuff, which would be kind of cool because I feel like actually having your questions and getting feedback as I'm doing it might be able to make more sense to you. So like, for example, I'll show you what a data structure is, so you might be interested in it. Data structures. Let's see. Let's do a graph traversal. So, like, this is kind of part of data structures. So you can look up graph traversal, and these are pseudocodes, which this breadth first search is what I'm showing you how to do in the maze generation tutorial. And this is pseudocode. It's basically just not language specific. You can basically apply it to anything. But you have these things like called graph traversals. Let's see if I can find an image, which is basically you have these graphs that represent data. You have different nodes and these edges that you can loop through, and these can be applied to anything. So like in the maze tutorial, each node would be represented by basically a grid space, and an edge would be the connection to that space, and that's kind of what I'm showing you how to model. So graph traversals can be applied to like artificial intelligence. Like maybe you'll have specific behaviors that you can get to, like this defines a behavior, like, and this defines a behavior state. But being in this state, you can only get to 2 other states. So you can use graph traversals like that. Or these are also used in pathfinding. I'm actually working on a, I'll show you, a platformer pathfinding, if I could find it, open project platformer. Platformer tutorial series. Nope. Only 2 games, GM project. Platformer unnamed. I'm not positive where it would be. Documents, Game Maker Studio 2. Platformer pathfinding, this might be it. Changes. So I'm working on building the graph right now for this platformer pathfinding. So as you can see, all these nodes are connected. This isn't the right version of it. Maybe it is. So I've actually built the graph. It's really hard to work with because, again, GameMaker does not support structures or lightweight objects yet. So I've had to make this with 2D arrays, and it's really difficult. So you can see, like, I've built this graph, and you'll use the graph traversal, like a graph traversal, like a star or breadth first search or some graph traversal to find the shortest route to a specific point. So it would search through all of these edges and find the fastest way to get to like a certain area, right? So that's what graph traversals are used for, is this kind of stuff. So I'm going to be fixing this and finishing it eventually, and you could kind of see the code. It's something. But yeah, so basically all I've done is make the graph right now, and now I'm going to start working on the graph traversal. So, all right, I'm probably going to be shutting it down. Yeah, I might be doing streams like this showing specific like learning stuff. So maybe I'll be showing some data structure stuff or showing some specific stuff. I had fun making that game tonight though, and I'm going to try to combine these 2 videos to make it available to everyone. And I know I've been talking a while, so I'm going to go ahead and get off, guys. It's late. It's about 11:22, and yeah, I need to get to bed. So hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys the next time. Thanks for joining me, and especially hanging around if you're still here. So I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.